This season, Instacart has your back to school. As in, they've got your back to school lunch favorites, like snack packs and fresh fruit. And they've got your back to school supplies, like backpacks, binders, and pencils. And they've got your back when your kid casually tells you they have a huge school project due tomorrow. Let's face it, we were all that kid. So first call your parents to say I'm sorry, and then download the Instacart app to get delivery in as fast as 30 minutes all school year long. Get a $0 delivery fee for your first 3 orders while supplies last. Minimum $10 per order. Additional terms apply.
When you want to have fun and have scratchers to scratch, there's a playful way you can do just that. Scratch with the key or acrylic nail. Scratch with the quill from a porcupine tail. Use a belt buckle from your friend Lamar. Or scratch with your pick while you play guitar. You can scratch in a bunch of different playful ways. Scratchers from the California Lottery. A little play can make your day.
Please play responsibly. Must be 18 years or older to purchase, play, or claim.
Are you tired of doing the same workouts day in, day out? Well, check out the Peloton app. Wherever you are, whatever your mood, the Peloton app has something for you. Lunch hour power walk, park Pilates, beach yoga. The Peloton app has it all. Try it today. Download the Peloton app and get your first 30 days free. New paid memberships only, starting at $12.99 a month after trial unless canceled. Terms apply.
It's easy to get lost in the latest true crime podcast or your favorite binge-worthy show. But what about your own story? That's the most important story of all, and therapy helps you write it. BetterHelp Therapy is 100% online and designed to be convenient and flexible enough to squeeze in between the next episode on your list. Get started today at betterhelp.com/pause for 10% off your first month.
And welcome back to Little Cuts, our weekly mini-sode where we dig into the things that we've been watching recently. I'm Terry.
And I'm Mary Beth. And this week we're talking queer Jewish horror, Bollywood, a wild new docuseries, an oppressively sad but funny movie, a weird little serial killer movie, and Vincent Price is a real dickhead.
He really is.
Yeah. Okay, before though, we're going to do a live taste test. Everybody, I have the Liquid Death severed lime flavor that I've been looking for weeks.
Oh, it's so good.
Not like heavily, but nowhere around me had it. And then I found it at my 7-Eleven finally yesterday. And I'm going to try it live on air. Everyone, this is very exciting content of Mary Beth trying new seltzer water. Very appealing to the ears. That's delicious. Wow.
Isn't it?
That's fucking delicious.
That is my everyday when I go to work. It is like my afternoon treat. I bring one in for work because it is just so freaking delicious.
Wait.
Liquid Death, sponsor us, please.
Holy shit, this is so good. Wait,
Is
this supposed to get me to stop drinking Coke? Oh.
It's what got me to stop drinking soda, period.
All right. I didn't like the mango one as much. So I'm not a huge fan of that one, but this is fucking delicious. All right, cool.
I know.
Wow.
Yay.
All right. And thank you, everybody, for joining us for this segment. Recommend your seltzer waters on Twitter so I can try more seltzer water. This is the content that people crave.
Da, 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 da.
Scarred for Life is now all about seltzer, and everyone comes on talks with their favorite flavor of seltzer water.
Seltzer for life. I'm telling you. We can still be SOFs. Seltzer for life.
Oh, if we ever do a Patreon, that should be a Patreon episode. Seltzer for life, and it's just us drinking seltzer and talking about seltzer.
Just slurping into the mics.
Really?
Tell me if you'd pay for that, listeners.
Yeah, honestly, please. Because if we could just have people pay money for us to try seltzer water, I would do it in a heartbeat. I would do it for free, but...
Yeah. Send us your seltzer water that you love. Like,
I fucking love it.
We love it. I love seltzer water.
Seltzer water. Fuck, that's good. Anyway.
I know. That was my reaction the first time I had it. I was like, And I'm ordering a case.
I'm literally about to order a case of that shit. It's so good.
Amazon ships it. And it's not that expensive.
Fuck yeah.
It's like $15 for 12 of them.
Oh my god. A new addiction.
Okay, but movies. Let's start with the Bollywood. I want to hear about your Bollywood one because you're the first one. We'll save that for last. So.
Okay, so this Bollywood movie is called RRR. I feel like a lot of people have seen this around like Twitter. It stands for Rise, Roar, Revolt. And it is directed by S.S. Rajamouli, who directed the incredible epic 2-part film Bahubali, which is about an Indian, like, legendary figure. And it is Bollywood, so it is musical and, like, very over the top. And so RRR is the story of 2 legendary revolutionaries who I believe are real, but this movie, like, has them become best friends. And they're each, like, fighting for the freedom of India from British colonial rule. It takes place in 1920. And it's, like, it is so good because it has this beautiful friendship between the 2 characters, who is Bheem and Rama. And so Bheem comes from a, like, small village in India, and the British take one of the village, one of the young little girl villagers because they think she's cute and they want to, like, keep her as a pet. So he goes on this journey to save this girl and meets this police officer, Rama, who is, like, mwah, handsome man. Like, cutie patootie. And they have the most incredible meet cute. It's on my Twitter of them saving a little boy, and they, like, swing through fire, and one of them is holding, like, the Indian, like, a flag, and it's just, like, the most insane thing I've ever seen, and it's incredible. And there's also this dance sequence where they're the only Indian guys at this British party, and they do this dance with their suspenders and have a dance competition, reminiscent of Midsommar when they're all dancing in a circle.
Wow.
It is so good. It's on Netflix. It's in Hindi on Netflix. It's not the original language. The original language is Telugu. But, I mean, that's what I had available. I want to see it in theaters. And, like, they're extending the theatrical run for it, I think, because it's been so popular. And it is just so fun, and you just have a smile on your face the whole time. It's just, like, a damn good time. So I highly recommend you check it out. It's 3 hours long, so it's, like, a good evening. It's got to be, like, a order food and, like, bunker in for the evening. But it goes by really fast. Like, these movies are long, but they have, like, so much going on in a good way. So, I just highly recommend it. And I'm not I don't know a ton about Bollywood. Friend of the show, Purpurina, has given me some incredible recommendations because they're really into, they've been obsessing over RRR, which is incredible, and we've been talking about it in the DMs, but they also sent me, like, a list of movies to watch, so I'm really excited.
Hell yeah.
Bahubali parts 1 and 2 are on Netflix. Those are fun as shit. The soundtrack is, like, I listen to it at work, to work. It's just so fun and so good, and it's just, it's so fun. Bollywood is so fun. It's just great.
Yeah, I want to watch it. I've wanted to watch it because I've heard about it because it did, like, a theatrical run, and like people that were in places where it was playing were, like, raving about it, and it's been, like, it feels like it's been on the periphery for such a long time, and the only thing that's been keeping me from, like, sitting down and watching on Netflix is the 3 hour. Yeah, 'cause it's over 3 hours, right?
It's over 3 hours.
It's a long.
Yeah,
it's a long movie.
We had. They do intermissions in the theater, so Steve and I did an intermission. Because I was like, we gotta take a break. But it's very good.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
So let's completely change the vibe here and talk about an oppressively sad but funny movie. Tell me more.
Okay, so this movie premiered at Tribeca, and it's called Next Exit. Okay. And it was written and directed by Mali Elfman, a daughter of Danny Elfman.
Sweet.
And you have Rahul Kohli, who is just...
cutie patootie.
I love him so much.
Wanna give him a smooch. on the forehead.
Me too. Oh.
I was trying to say wholesome. I was trying to be appropriate.
I mean, sure, I'll kiss him on the forehead. That's fine. Anyway, before this goes down like a whole path of me just like, I don't know, fantasizing.
This is supposed to be like a sad movie, and we're just like, let's talk about dick. Woo!
But anyway, so he plays a character named Teddy, and
Teddy.
Katie Parker.
Fuck, what
I know.
name. Sorry. Woo!
Katie Parker, who's been, she's been in a number of Flanagan movies. She was in Absentia. She was in The Haunting of Hill House. She's going to be in The Fall of the House of Usher coming up.
Was she in Hill House or was she in Bly Manor?
She was in Hill House.
Oh, okay.
For a couple episodes. She was in Dr. Sleep.
Okay.
Like, she's been in a lot of, she's a Flanagan actress. Okay. But she's phenomenal in this, by the way. But anyway, so they play these two people who, okay, let me back up a minute. So the movie opens with on a horror movie note of like this creepy doorway in this darkness, and the camera's moving through it, and then there's this little kid sitting on a bed, and he reaches over for his flashlight, and there's like a jump scare of a ghost face on the edge of it, and he kind of jumps, but then turns out that the ghost is actually his father who's dead, and he starts playing cards with them.
Oh.
In the real world, we can't see the ghost, but there's like a camera that's situated on the bed filming the two of them. And on the camera, we can see that he is playing cards with a specter. This video goes viral. It gets spread across the internet, and it starts like this doctor, played by Karen Gillan. She starts this corporation who wants to explore the afterlife. And the way you do that is like with other explorers, is you have to have someone who's dead and willing to pass on to the next life.
Uh-huh.
And so Teddy and Rose are two people who have decided to give up life on the earth.
Okay.
Basically have assisted suicide and be explorers in the afterlife.
Oh boy.
And they have a meet cute of sorts while they are both trying to rent a car to drive across the country, and the car's been double booked. His license is going to expire in a week, and while he says it's not going to be necessary, they won't give him the car. So the two of them who don't know each other decide to do a cross-country trip.
Okay.
To their final destination.
Which is the afterlife.
Yeah, so you can tell this is a very heavy subject matter. And the movie it uses like a romantic comedy tropes, because you have a meet cute. You have two people who are at each other's throats who eventually start to open up with each other and start to like maybe fall in love a little bit. You have all this going on, but it's like surrounded by this dark specter that is literally chasing Rose. She keeps seeing this ghost in like mirrors and behind her that's like chasing her. And both characters are very haunted. You start to dig into why the two of them want to die.
Okay. Cool.
And yeah, so very, 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 very heavy, very sad, but the characters are very human and authentic and feel like you get to know them, and as you start to know them, there's moments of very high levity, I would say.
Okay.
And it's powerhouse performances by both Katie and Rahul. Like they have so much chemistry, and they have so much charisma.
Hell yeah.
And as they start to like learn about each other and start to maybe try to help each other while they're doing this, it makes such a, I don't know. It was such a good watch, but like it was one that I'm just sitting there just getting more and more sad. It's so good. The score is by Ariel Marks, and she did the score for Shiva Baby. And just like in that movie, she adds like a hint of menace and a hint of like horror movie vibes to it just is constantly unsettling. It's just, I really love this movie. I think that it has a lot of trigger warnings because it's a movie about suicidal ideation, and about wanting to die, and it's so there's a lot of like a lot of trigger warnings, but I'll tell you, it's a It's a very moving movie. I really, really, really liked it.
Hell yeah. I am excited to check it out. I know it's coming out. Isn't it coming out this summer?
Oh, I don't even know.
I feel like it might be coming out this summer, but I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't heard.
Cool.
But it's if it plays at a festival and you can watch it, y'all, I would recommend it. It's it's heavy, but it's good.
Cool.
Changing tone again, I think maybe. What's this wild new docuseries?
Okay. So, Steve and I have been watching for the past 4 weeks the docuseries on Hulu called The Deep End. And It just ended last week. It's only 4 episodes, so it's pretty short. But it is about, like, self-help guru Teal Swan and her... How do I put that? It basically cult, and how it's a cult, but she refuses to acknowledge it's a cult. And actually, quasi-related to Next Exit, she is known for being a person who encourages people to end their lives.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, she is known for kind of, instead of telling people, like, no, you don't need, like, don't do that, she encourages them. She's like, well, if you think you need to do that and you're just, like, not going to do anything, then, like, why not just follow through with it? Which is incredibly upsetting. And she is such a shitty person. But this docuseries is so fascinating because, like, she's letting them document inside of her inner circle. Like, she wants this to be about her, and she thinks it makes her look good. And, like, I think she thought it was be a good PR play instead of, like, look, I'm not a cult. I don't have these, like, horrible ideas. And instead, it becomes this fucking show about how absolutely horrendous she is as a person. And how she treats everyone around her like shit, and how she's manipulative and terrible and rude. And it's just incredible that she lacks so little self-awareness that she does not see how badly she is portraying herself in front of the camera. And it's only 4 episodes. It is on Hulu, and it's fucking fascinating because I feel like you get all of these docuseries about cults, like, from the outside, and you kind of hear people talk, like, you have, testimonials from former members, but you don't have, like, that inside access to, like, the actual unfolding and what it looks like. And it's really fascinating and totally fucked up because this is the other thing. God damn it. She has people, like, she's these retreats where you're basically, like, reliving your trauma to, like, expose you to it. And she has other people on the retreat, not professionals, channel your trauma and, like, assume your trauma. So instead of, like, actually talking about trauma, they, like, plant these ideas in people's heads about what they endured. And this is, like, the inner circle, the people that are, like, really indoctrinated into her stuff. But yeah, she's a fucking menace to society.
Wow.
It is fucking wild.
Okay.
Did you expect any of that? Probably not.
No. It's funny because I've like all of a sudden on Twitter I've seen people talk about The Deep End and how wild it is, but no one has said what it was, and I hadn't gone to look. So, like, when you said, I was like, I have no idea what this is even about, but everyone seems to be talking about it, and holy crap.
And then, like, it's like following her and then following one of her followers who's been with her since she was a teenager, and how she basically bullies his new wife, and, like, that really weird relationship dynamic. It's wild. And it's beautifully shot. It's weird because it sometimes feels like a fictional movie, the way that they kind of talk. So I'm curious about, like, what was kind of more performative for cameras, but I don't know if she even has self-awareness enough to do that, honestly.
Oh.
It's just shot, like, very cinematically, so it's a little bit, it's weird sometimes, because it's like, are you trying to make us sympathize with her? But I got into my head about it, but it's fascinating. If you like that shit, I highly recommend it. It's 4 parts, it's pretty short. I think you should check it out. So.
Huh.
I know.
Okay.
And then...
Wow.
Did I just, like, blow your mind with that?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah. She is wild. I could talk about her forever, so I'm gonna stop now just because I've been like, I fell into a rabbit hole about her and like her Twitter and all this, her YouTube and shit, and I was like, what is happening to me? I am like playing into her hands because I'm so fascinated. What about this weird little serial killer movie?
Okay, so on a lark, I rented a Wounded Fawn from Tribeca at home.
Okay.
Just to like watch it. I wasn't sure if I was going to review it. I haven't decided. I might review it because, well, you'll see why in a minute. So this is Travis Stevens' third movie.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. So I gave Jacob's Wife like a positive review, but it was sort of mixed. But I've watched it a couple times since I initially reviewed it, and I've kind of fallen more in love with it than I anticipated.
Oh.
So like it's a movie that I think the more I've watched it, the more I've liked it. And I really liked his first movie, Girl on the Third Floor.
I really like that movie.
Yeah. And so we have a Wounded Fawn, and let me tell you, one of the things, regardless of what you think about these three movies, what a tonal shift each movie is, and what a like different what's the word I want to say? A differently shot, like the way he shoots each movie has been incredibly different. And this movie itself feels like it's pulling from a variety of different eras of horror movies. Like it has the aesthetics of like a 70s shot horror film. Okay. I'm not sure if he filmed on camera or like with stock or what, but it has like a graininess to it that evokes sort of like that era.
Okay.
The furniture and the set design feels of that era. But it's set now because they have the main character has a cell phone and she listens to Cigarettes After Sex, the band.
Oh, hell yeah. I love that band. Whew.
Yeah, me too. So there's like, it's very anachronistic in that like it has like this timeless, weird, dreamlike quality to the film that could take place anywhere from between the 70s and now. It's very weird. And it has former guest of the show, Josh Rubin, as a serial killer who in a twist that seems sort of like reminiscent of Fresh. Okay. This woman is getting out of a relationship named Meredith, played by Sarah Lind. She's getting out of a relationship that was abusive. She's back on the dating scene. She's met this guy, Bruce, who like she's like telling her two friends like, "Oh, I'm not going to introduce you yet. I'm trying to see where this is going to go before, we introduce people." But she is going to the cabin in the woods that he owns and driving away into this very remote place to spend a weekend with him. And so she gets there, and when she's leaving the car, she hears a female voice in the back of her head say, "Leave." And she's like looking around going, "Hello? Where was that voice coming from?" Because there's no one there. And they go in the house, they start to like, get dinner prepared and whatever, and she starts seeing things outside, a woman running by the window, triggering like a motion light. Something keeps crashing into the window. Like there's just weird things going on. Uh-huh. Meanwhile, he keeps seeing this, like, for lack of a better word, owl man figure thing that's bathed in red that is telling him to kill her.
Cool.
And then it gets really weird.
Oh, okay.
And it's just like a descent into madness that kind of takes on Greek mythology for a lot of it, and is more about punishing the serial killer in a way.
Okay. Without like spoiling things.
This is a movie in which a lot of shit happens to Josh Rubin's character, and it's funny, it's weird, it's I don't know. I don't really know how to really describe this film. I don't think it's going to be for everyone, but I'll tell you what, I really appreciated it by the time the movie was over. I was like, okay, this movie's very weird. It's very idiosyncratic, but it really worked for me.
Hell yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah, I've heard divisive things out of Tribeca, so I'm excited to check it out. It kind of sounds also like I like how Stevens did revenge in Girl on the Third Floor. I thought that was a really interesting kind of like, I saw it as like a rape revenge movie, which I really like that. So it sounds like he's kind of hitting similar-ish beats with this one in terms of like punishment. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah. It has like I would say like an Italian horror vibe from like the 70s too, in terms of like the style and the sort of dreamlike nature. Like serial killer by way of Suspiria in a way.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. It's wild. It's a wild little movie.
Huh. All right. Cool.
But speaking of another Tribeca film that we both have seen, let's talk about this queer Jewish horror.
So this is Attachment.
Mm-hmm.
This is like, I think this was the only film I watched out of Tribeca, and I'm very glad I did. So this is it's a film directed by Gabriel Beer Gislason. It's like part Danish, part British film. But it follows Maya, who is kind of like an actress, and Leah, who is a British academic, and they have this cute little like rom-com meet cute like in the library where they like exchange they drop books and they switch up and they have a cute little chat before. So it's got this like cute rom-com kind of quality to it, which is so funny because it just kind of like goes in a very different direction. You described it to me as a rom-com dropped in a ghost story, which is a very apt description. Leia has this like very weird seizure, and so Maya takes her back home. She has a seizure and hurts her leg when she's having the seizure. And so Maya takes her back home to London, where she lives with her mom. And when she gets there, her mom, played by the incredible Sophia Grabol.
Oh, she's so good.
She's so good. Is acting very weird. So they're an Orthodox Jewish family. Her father, Leah's father, is no longer in the picture, so just her and her mom. And her mom converted to Orthodox Judaism for her dad, if I remember it correctly. And she's acting when people talk about the stereotypical like kind of overbearing Jewish mother, she kind of it's that vibe of like wanting to take very good care of your kids and like not, I know best for my child, etc. But then we start learning that there's actually a very specific reason for why that is happening. And it goes from this kind of like not funny, but like rom-com vibes to like very...
Oh, it's humorous. There's a lot.
Yeah,
I think there's a lot of humor in the movie.
I agree. There definitely is.
Sort of like Meet the Parents vibe. Like, you're meeting the parents of someone that you just are starting to date and maybe are figuring things out, and then she's very intrusive. Like, Maya is sleeping in Leah's apartment, and she keeps waking up in the middle of the night, and there's a candle that's been lit. Like her mom has been sneaking into the room while they're sleeping. There's like all of this kind of like very intrusive things that it's like, okay, this is like really awkward, and that kind of like, again, Meet the Parents type vibes. But then, yeah, like you said, it gets a little twisted.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I think I wanted a little bit more horror out of it, actually. I think I wanted a little bit more, and like a little... It basically like follows some possession movie beats without spoiling too much. So I think that part wasn't as well developed in my head, but I loved the characters and their chemistry in that. Like, I did really enjoy that aspect, and I think the performances were awesome. I think it just like kind of loses the horror thread a little bit, but I still really enjoyed it. And like queer Jewish horror, come on now. Like, thank God we finally have some. There's an article either already out or coming out on Dread Central that someone wrote for Pride that is about the search for queer Jewish representation in horror, and it's a really awesome article. And so I was like, well, thank God we have... And it's coming out I think it's coming out on Shudder soon-ish. So it'll have... I think it has distribution already.
Cool. Yeah, I really liked it. You're right. The horror is a bit understated, I would say.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't go in expecting like a terribly scary movie, but it has a creepy vibe to it.
It does have a really like
a lot of atmosphere.
Not to compare it to like one of the only other Jewish horror movies we have, but like it's got that kind of creeping dread vibe in The Vigil. Not nearly as scary by any stretch, but like those moments kind of like where he's sitting in the living room and there's like a playing with light and stuff. There's a good deal of that going on in this movie. So playing with kind of those like that setup, but not nearly as scary.
Good. I'm glad you liked it. I really enjoyed it. I need to get my review done.
Yeah. Oh, wait, I don't have to review it. Yes. I love it. Oh, I love when that happens. But now let's talk about Vincent Price being a total dickhead. Terry,
Yes.
what was our horror comedy for this week?
Okay, so I'm embarrassed to admit that I did not realize that this was a play on words until I was probably 3/4 of the way into the movie. It is a comedy of terrors.
You didn't realize that was a fucking play on
No, Mary Beth, I did not realize it was a play on words until I started to realize that, oh, this is a comedy of errors, is what I said to myself literally as I was watching this movie. It's like, oh. Yep. Sometimes he's smart, y'all. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
But in this comedy of terrors, we have an undertaker named Waldo, played by Vincent Price as a dickhead.
Oh, he's so hot, though.
I want to talk about him in a minute, yes. And he is married to a woman named played by Joyce Jameson, who is the daughter of his business partner, Amos, played by Boris Karloff. And he hates her. He's a drunk. He keeps drinking. He is a complete and utter dick to her. Meanwhile, his assistant, Felix, played by Peter Lorre, is also in love with his wife and is very upset that he keeps treating her horribly. Meanwhile, their business is suffering as the Undertaker. They only have one coffin that humorously they keep loading bodies into, and then once like the funeral service has died down and everyone's left, they literally dump the body off into the ground and bury it up and then take the coffin back. But their business is suffering.
Great.
And they're going to be evicted by their landlord, John F. Black, who's played by Basil Rathbone, another, Sherlock Holmes, another big British actor. But yeah, so they're going to get evicted, and so they need to make money, and so one of the ideas is to kill people. So that
a very
they can...
rational response.
Yeah, that's what you do, right? Kill people so that they can create their own customers. And
I'm sorry, it's just such a funny solution to a problem.
It really is.
It's truly something.
And I'm curious to hear what you think of this movie, because I was surprised to find out that it was written by Richard Matheson, who we've covered at least one thing that he's been involved with, because he wrote the book that Stir of Echoes is based on.
Yeah, he also wrote I Am Legend, right?
And he wrote I Am Legend.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And he was also the writer of Jaws 3D. You can't win them all.
Well, Range, though.
Range, yeah. So he wrote the screenplay, and I think the screenplay is pretty funny. I'm not sure. I don't think it's directed particularly well, but
yeah,
I think the bones of it is really good. But I'm curious to hear what you thought of this movie, Mary Beth.
So I definitely laughed. I thought it was funny.
Mm-hmm.
I think it kind of drags a little bit, which is weird.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it gets a little bit repetitive, kind of in the action. I think the wife sang way too much. That gag got old so fast. I think I like the setup, and I think the performances from Peter Lorre and Vincent Price are great. I just think some of the gags just were used too often, and it got redundant. But I still had I still had fun with it. I think Vincent Price is really hot, so that was really cool to get to watch him be really hot and hear his voice for an hour and 20 minutes. And that feels so funny. It's only an hour and 20 minutes, but it feels longer than an hour and 20 minutes.
It does feel longer. I think it has a great beginning, a really good ending, third act, and the second act just I don't think necessarily played out as well as it probably could have.
Yeah.
Although hearing Basil Rathbone being silly, first of all, because Basil Rathbone, whenever any movie I've seen him in, he is definitely prim and proper Sherlock Holmes type character.
Yeah.
To see him be silly in this and to allow himself to be kind of funny, where he's literally randomly quoting Macbeth as he's walking around the house with an axe trying to kill people, is quite humorous. I think this is really cool simply because it's a lot of the horror greats all coming together for one movie.
Oh, yeah.
Because Vincent Price, Karloff, Rathbone, Peter Lorre, these are all genre bigwigs in their career, and this is a movie where they're like all together and getting to make fun and be silly, and I think that's really, I don't know, that really worked for me.
Yeah.
And I did love the line where Vincent Price's character, he gets stiffed on a fee for burying the man that he murdered because the wife takes off with his money, and his comment is there no morality in the world? And I was like, okay, that's a good line.
Peter Lorre climbing up the roof and goes, why did I break out of prison? It was so peaceful there. Like, that fucking killed me. Like, that was incredible. And at the end, like, I gay gasped at the ending when the dad gives Vincent Price poison and said it's med. I just thought I was like, oh, what a great way to just, like, tie it with a little bow.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it definitely is fun, and I liked it overall. I just think there's some, like you said, direction issues. But
yeah,
still great.
One thing that I did realize watching this is I'm fairly convinced at this point that all of the actors in Hollywood from this era were either gay or Republican. I'm just like, I've been editing a piece for Gaily Helpful talking about Frankenstein and how the two main actors in there were queer. You know, we talked about Cary Grant, who was rumored to be queer. Rumored, and I use that in quotation marks. We have Vincent Price, who, what an amazing man. Back in like the 50s, was railing against anti-queer rhetoric, who supported his lesbian daughter when she came out, and later on after his death, his daughter talked about how, you know, he did have male relationships. Like, just,
he's just like a gem. I was actually talking to Ted Gagan about this at Overlook. Like, I didn't really know a lot about Vincent Price, so he told me all the stuff about how he was poly and how he donated a lot of money, I think, to Indigenous people and really cared about, like, queer, like you said, queer issues. And it was, I think, also apparently, and this is interesting, he, like, when he was younger, he was a Nazi sympathizer, and then, like, spent the rest of his life trying to rectify that wrong of, like, ever being that kind of person, which is really fascinating to me and, like, really cool. So he's just, like, an all-around cool man.
Yeah, love that.
Yeah, me too. Queer icon Vincent Price. 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10, no notes. So Terry, what's next on our horror comedy adventure?
All right, we are going to go to 1967 and watch El Camino de los Espantos, which was recommended to us by EL, aka Purpurina, and I'm really excited to see one that's not, you know, American or British.
Very exciting.
Yeah.
I'm excited to watch this one.
And it's on Tubi, so if y'all want to watch it, it is on Tubi right now. Watch it and follow along with us. But who are we talking to on Monday, Mary Beth? I kind of teased this on Twitter already. So
on Monday, we are chatting with the co-writer and director of Dawn Breaks Behind the Eyes, Kevin Kopaka. And we talk about Lucio Fulci's Zombie.
AKA Zombie 2, AKA
Zombie Flesh Eaters.
Something about flesh eaters.
Zombie Flesh Eaters. His movie rules. It's out June 24th.
A week from today. And we talk about Zombie, which I saw for the first time for that episode. So, hell yeah. Hell yeah. So, listeners, you've heard from us. We want to hear from you. Did you watch a film that we watched and have thoughts? Do you, again, have suggestions for horror comedies we should talk about? Send us an email at scarredforlifepodcast@gmail.com or reach out to us directly on Twitter. I'm at MB McAndrews. And I'm at Gaily Dreadful.
And of course, don't forget to follow the podcast on Twitter at Scar Podcast.
And please don't forget to review, rate, and subscribe.
Thank you to Eric Power for our artwork. Eric and Andreas have a movie debuting at the Maine International Film Festival. So very exciting to see their next movie. Yeah. It's like a fantasy. I'm very excited to watch it. So get ready for that, everybody. So again, thank you, Eric, for our artwork. Thank you to Sean Keller for our music. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Please stay safe out there, but most importantly, stay creepy.
And until next time.
Acast powers the world's best podcasts. Here's a show that we recommend.
What is The Briefing Room? It's a behind-the-scenes look at how the criminal justice system works and the lives of the people within that system. If you love true crime, well, these are the real people who do the job every day of making sure justice is served. Hi, I'm Detective Dave. I'm Detective Dan. Together we have decades of experience in local law enforcement, a profession that we think is often misunderstood. So we're going to explore how to do it right, and we won't shy away from when it's done wrong. These are stories you'll hear nowhere else. Unique, frank, and unvarnished. From the team that brought you Small Town Dicks, this is The Briefing Room. Episode 1 drops on August 30th. We'll meet you in the briefing room.
Acast helps creators launch, grow, and monetize their podcasts everywhere. Acast.com.